People, it is Tuesday, December 7th, and I would like to welcome you to day 7 of 31 days of Instagram Lives with the most awesome Persian entrepreneurs, creators, artists from all around the world. I'm so happy and grateful that you're joining us once again. Wherever you're joining, drop a little line, let me know where you're from. And it's going to be a great episode today too. And it's been a great 6-7 days leading up to today. And we have so many great guests lined up for the rest of the month. And I'm very grateful today. I'm very happy to be here. And I'm happy to have my guest today, who's Amir Zonozi, the president and founder of Zoomph. It's a pretty incredible digital marketing tech company that is working with billion-dollar brands. And so I'm very happy to have him. But before I start to introduce him, for those of you who've been joining us for the past week, I start every single IG Live with 10 seconds of gratitude. We all live such crazy lives. We always have so many things to do with work, life, and it gets overwhelming at times. And then when it's overwhelming, anxiety builds up, and when anxiety builds up, it just kind of snowballs to things that bring us down. And one way to uplift our system is by just gratitude and just counting our blessings and taking a moment to realize that even if some things in our life are not as great as we would like, that there's still a lot of things that are amazing and that we should be very grateful for. So if you don't mind, I'm going to just shut down for 10 seconds. Join me for 10 seconds and just count your blessings. Let's go. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you took a time to also just take a little break, simmer down, relax, and just enjoy another beautiful day of being alive. So with that in mind, like I said, my guest today is Amir Zonozi, and he's doing some phenomenal stuff growing this tech company, Zoomph. I would rather just have him explain to everybody exactly what it is, and we're going to tell you and share the story about how he got to where he is and all the exciting things that they are doing over at Zoomph. And so let's see if actually Amir is here, and Amir should be here any second, but I don't see him yet. So let's just wait until he gets on. In the middle of what I'm saying, we have Annifer. Hello, how are you? We got Patisa from Montreal, of course. She's been helping out incredibly, which actually now that Patisa is here, we at Unite and Conquer are looking for more people to help grow our community of awesome English-speaking Persians from around the world. All we're trying to do is put a spotlight on awesome Persians, and we have awesome people like Patisa from Montreal that have lent their time and their energy and efforts to help with all the things that we're doing behind the scenes. And we also have Rana from New York that's helping. So just know that I'm extremely grateful for anybody who's interested in helping grow our community. So don't be shy, reach out, and let's figure out how to unite and conquer together. Okay, there we go. We have Amir Zonozi there. Amir John, make sure you please click the button that says request to join so I can actually patch you in, my friend. So in just a few seconds, we're going to have Amir coming on board. I'm just waiting for the notification. I appreciate y'all's patience here. And there he is. Okay, viewing request. All right, Amir, how are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
You were going on Persian Standard Time, huh? Running a couple minutes behind.
My bad, my bad. I
Nice.
turned on the alerts. I blame Instagram.
No problem, man. So good to have you here. How are you?
Good to be on. Thanks for having me. Excited that you had all these amazing people planned for the 31st, and then bringing the average down. You had composers and all these talented directors, and then now you got a guy that tweets and Instagrams on here. But excited to be on here.
Man, you're doing awesome things in your own regard, and like I appreciate you making time. I know you're a busy man. So let's kind of dive right into it, man. I mean, tell people who don't know anything about Zoomph what it is, because you're in a very unique sector that most people are not like in tune with. But what you're doing is phenomenal, and it's helping businesses grow. Like you're already working with billion-dollar businesses that are even going deeper and deeper into providing better services and analytics. So go ahead and you say it in your words. What is Zoomph?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. At the end of the day, what we're trying to understand is the currency of attention. And we look at content creators, we look at right holders, teams, organizations. They're creating content as a form of currency, and content is commerce today. We want to, just like you're doing today, right? You're providing a valuable resource for your audience to learn, grow, and enhance through these important dialogues that you're facilitating. Well, we work with these great sports organizations, esports organizations, and we want to help them understand when they work with partners, what is the value of their content? How does that performance change when they do different types of content? Who is the audience that's tuning in? So we believe all impressions and engagements are not created equal. When Frank joins, right? And when Armin joins, right? Like people in the Paris joining, right? Like these are different people. They represent different niches in the audience. How does this come together to tell a full story on behalf of these content creators? So at the end of the day, it's attention is currency, content is commerce. What is the value of the content that you're creating?
So how did you even come up with this? Like one day you were just chilling and you're like, oh, you know what? Let me figure out what is the value of this, sports team. Which my next question was going to be, how did you even get involved into like focusing on sports teams? But take a step back and tell us how you even, the catalyst behind Zoomph.
Yeah, no, definitely a long journey of failure, right? It's and it's very simple to think it's like one person, and I've tuned into some of yours, and it's a team that gets it done, just like the team behind you that is putting on this, magnificent 31 days, 31 interviews. It's not an easy thing, and so originally it goes way back to. And I'll keep it not, make the story a little bit shorter for everyone so they don't fall asleep. But it goes all the way back to AIM. That's what got me connected to the internet. And I'm a bit of an introvert, even though a lot of people might think I'm an extrovert. Like, I just love communicating with people in that way. And that was the aha moment for me to technology, right? Every, parent, Iranian parent tells their kid you want them to be a doctor. But I've always been fascinated by the way people communicate. Every signal can meet a receiver and have a different action or behavior. So really how Zoomph and that whole story started is I was an entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur. I got connected to an agency where Ali Manicherry he was the founder there. We were helping the State Department understand the impacts of speeches from social media. They would do a speech. Hey, Shervin, how's it going, Dr. Tabrizi? We would have these speeches. We would look at the audience. How are they interacting with one another? What was that impact? From there, we started answering questions that they would ask us, but there was no technology to provide that answer for them. So we would look at things like, who are the top influencers that are in politics or in government or in diplomacy? So we created like an influencer ranking algorithm. It really started to get rid of Justin Bieber at the beginning of the day. He was the number one influencer back in that time. He still is an influential guy, but we had to return a report to the State Department, and it was like Justin Bieber was the number one influencer. One, he's Canadian. Two, he's a pop star, right? Like, how are we going to save our face? Go to the department and deliver that report. So we manually removed everyone the first time. Then we got lazy. We went and found a developer, and we're like, help us remove all this automatically. Anyways, we created something. Ali saw what we were doing, and he was just like, guys, this is way too big. You guys got to go private and not in federal and politics. We spent a couple of years. He gave us access to building nights and weekends. We started getting customers. We found fan experience as a way to kind of set it off. And that's where we started. And we started working with sports teams, Monumental Sports here in DC. They have the Caps, they have the Wizards. We started with that, but we spoke to everyone. And there's a quote from one of the listeners here that he always says it is, a fox that chases many rabbits catches none. And we were trying to do too many things at once. And we failed over and over again. Not failed, but we never received like maximum success. And over the years, we tried different things. We got into audience analytics. The platform grew. Our team shrank. With lots of ups and downs. But in 2018, the Cowboys came to us and they said, we want to use you guys to track your data for partnerships, not for marketing. At that point, we were only marketing. And I don't know if we can curse on here, but we were
of course you fucking can. Of course.
All right. So we're like, really appreciate Cowboys. That's not our lane. Yeah. Hard no. They said, are you fucking crazy? We're the Dallas fucking Cowboys. You're not going to say no to us. And so we're like, they got a point. They are the Dallas fucking Cowboys. So we
as much as Washingtonians, we hate them. They are America's team,
Yeah, and that's the craziest thing working in sports. It's like there's so so many fandoms and passion. But that was definitely one where I was just like, I don't know about these guys. But we crushed it, and we're like, well, okay, this really worked. They were right. And then we got another opportunity with Madison Square Garden, and they wanted to do something with using audience data. And we're like, okay, that's not really us. But they sent us a picture on a mobile shot of a whiteboard, and it's like, can you build this? We thought they only sent it to us. They sent it to like 20 people. But we still were able to build it. We wanted to deal, and we're like, holy shit. Yeah. These years of all these things that we built where we didn't know where we were going, now looking backwards, they were fundamental to why we are great today, right? All those failures that we had, we're using each one of those components, and they shaped us to be ready for this moment when we found the right fit and the right product market fit with the audience. So anyways, it was 2019. We were like, we got to go partnerships. We killed it with the Cowboys. We killed it with MSG. We were we were delivering to the wrong audience. And once we found who that audience fit was, we said, okay, we've got to refactor this entire product, but we still have customers on that same product that we were building that was focused on fan experience. And we still have some of those customers, believe it or not, that made it past COVID, but we still serve them. They're very happy to get this. But this second form of business has taken off tremendously, and we've been growing quarter over quarter. During the pandemic, we were terrified. Come on, we were just like, what are we going to do? Sports is at a pause. Esports came with a vengeance. I mean, they just totally took off. So really, it's been amazing to kind of see, how those key moments have happened. It's been luck, it's been fate, it's been hard work and not giving up and persistence that kind of got us to where we are today. But it's a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Well, I mean, you just kind of mentioned the pandemic, and I was just actually very, very curious that how has the pandemic shifted your priorities? For example, I saw recently that Zoomph is now 100% I think, remote company.
Yeah.
And, what shifts in your clients' priorities have come from the pandemic is what I'm kind of curious about.
Yeah. So great question. So when the pandemic hit, there was a pause in live sports. Sports wasn't playing. And esports really took off, and they needed a way to communicate with their partners. What is the value that we're providing as people are watching to our partners? And so that was great. And then sports came back, right? But fans weren't allowed back in at first. What this did was it was a huge focus where social media was a nice to have. Now it was the only safe way to engage with fans. And so we were building for this future where we thought at one point, social media is going to be a key way of how brands are interacting with fans through activations of partnerships. But then all of their contracts got paused or refactored, force majeure, right? Like we can no longer do that activation that we planned. So plans changed. They all moved to social, and all the teams were promoting social as the best way to engage. And they needed help understanding. They had ticket data, right, of who the fans were attending, but they had no idea who the audience was watching and engaging and interacting with. So all of a sudden, we were in a very lucky position to guide these organizations on how to proceed forward. Who are their fans? What is their demographic breakdown? What interests do they have? What pre-existing relationships with brands do they already have? Like, for example, I mean, it's like a lot of times these partnerships, the sales team are just pitching. Your audience, people watching here already have pre-existing relationship with brands that they already like, love, want, right? And if they happen to also follow you and that brand came in, that's pouring jet fuel on a fire, right? It's going to just explode. So we're changing the way that teams now pitch by using the data of their audience, understand what relationships are already there, then taking that data to those brands to say, hey, your audience is already fans of what we're building here. It makes sense for us to do something. And we learned very quickly that fans are the oxygen of this entire ecosystem. We do any creepy shit, we're going to lose fans, right? If we do things that are great for the fans, they're going to want to pour, they're going to bring more people in, they're going to want to see more of this. So what we, helping them at the end of the day is understand where this is. Now, fans are back, but social is stronger than ever because brands realize, wow, we have really good data on this now. We can change and pivot what our ideas and activations and campaigns are as they're happening. And so if we're seeing something not working, well, we've got data in real time to give us an idea of like, okay, this is now what we've got to shift. You might be saying, oh, we're losing users left and right. People are not viewing Amir's boring. Let's get someone else that's not around in tech. That's not happening. A lot of great stuff that's at Black Lives definitely matters. Thank you, NYC Persians. But, so it's, thank you for everyone commenting and engaging as well. This is great. Seeing a lot of friends here. Send an emoji if you find this interesting. But
Awesome.
so we're doing what we can, and we think this is going to be the way. And honestly, sports teams today, they are basically agencies trained on getting brands access to their fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're even working in this way. And it used to be like social media influencers, and you're an influencer 100%, right? At one point, it was just like an unofficial way for you to engage.
Micro working on
No,
macro.
you're top dog. But like, and honestly, it was first informal, then it becomes formal, then you use it to accentuate your business. Now you've got a team behind you that's pumping out this content, and that's honestly at the end of the day is really what's powering it. And we think this is, the fourth phase of creator economy, right? Where now organizations are built this content machines at the end of the day. And now what's interesting is Web 3.0, where we have NFTs, we have digital,
The
sort of
metaverse.
blockchain, the metaverse. I mean, we're going into that faster than we can even realize what is truly happening. But it's truly exciting, and we constantly, our mission is to understand what is the value of that branded experience at all times. We want to be the Dow Jones of attention.
I want to go to metaverse in a second, but before I transition to there, I know you mentioned that the Cowboys reached out to you first, but did basically the sports niche find you, or did you have it on your radar that you want to kind of go over like with the sports arena? Or I mean, pun intended. You know what I mean? What were you? Were there other industries that you were considering to kind of translate your technology to, or was it sports all the way, and then the Cowboys found you?
Yeah, honestly, they found us, and they were the ones that sort of saw what our technology could provide for them. I wish it was like we had this vision, we showed up overnight and we did it. But honestly, it's that ability to listen to your customers and constantly ask them. Like, we get into demos and meetings, and my first reaction is, I want you to be tough as hell on us, right? Ask the toughest questions you can. Very early in our career, we tried to shy away and hide the things that we were not good at, and we realized we were doing ourselves a disservice by not getting that customer feedback and we want to find every sort of point of weakness that we have and put our attention completely on solving that weakness. So now what we do is we run towards the fire, we run towards the obstacle. We want to understand what is our pain point, right? It's not fun to hear it, but now we know it, and now we can go after and we can solve it. Now what's your excuse for not going with us, right? And we've constantly kind of built in that way. And that's what led us down the way where the Cowboys, we sat down, we had a conversation with them, we understood what they were trying to do. We gave it a shot. At first, we were like, this is outside. It's a little too different from what we're doing. But we were nimble enough to adjust. And honestly, now we're in a different position where we're seeing the success. But we look at discipline as a catalyst. So sports and esports have been our main focus. Tomorrow, I mean, we've got some music labels, but and we got some film companies that are using us in those ways. But film and entertainment, Iman, you saw Stranger Things, I saw sponsored things. There was like Nike, there was Polaroid, there was, so like you got The Rock, you got Kevin Hart. Who's that third person? Maybe it's Salar, right? That joins that audience here. There's someone that joined in the conversation right there. But like, who unlocks a deduped audience that's not duplicated across The Rock, across Kevin Hart, that now has a new expanded reach into a new demographic that you haven't previously connected with, that will now translate into sales at the box office. So there's all ways that you can use digital data and social media to power those next decisions forward on where to go. And what's really great about social media is you have survey data that's out there, and it's great to know how many cars you own, how many kids you have. Those are very good pointed questions, but the actions and behavior on social media tell so much more, right? Who you follow, what you engage with, what are the words in your bio. Now, the way we do it is non-creepy, right? We aggregate it, we anonymize. We want to use these insights to deliver for the fans, but not sell the fans themselves out and their information out. So we do it in a very privacy by design and conscious way. But all of that has been critical for us on learning and just asking these questions, listening, and delivering. And that's been the main way that we've been able to grow to where we are today. And honestly, what took us to get here is it's going to be different what's going to take us to get to that next threshold. But we have to keep reinventing ourselves based on the challenges that our customers are facing. But we have to be brave enough to hear where we're not delivering on so that we can think about that as we move forward and solve those. If we don't, someone else will one day.
And then like on social media, are there particular sites that you're focusing on? Is it just Instagram or Facebook, or is it all across the board, every single type of platform that is popular? How does it work?
Yeah, one thing you brought up, and I didn't go into, and this is a quote that, and of course, Jess David just joined us. She knows this quote: "Niches get riches." And so, the more niche your audience is, the more that you can unlock the value and get that all out there, right? And
Hmm.
so, you have a niche audience. You have Persian Americans. There's, you're sharing this content. It's a very specific focus. That way, you can deliver so much value to them, and everyone that's joining here is joining every day for the 31 days of the interviews that you have, because you're consistently delivering for an audience on that specific need. And that's what we focused on. We wanted that niche, and we wanted to deliver for sports and esports. And then as we grow, we can go dominate other verticals. And I got all hyped up. I forgot your question that you
Well,
just asked.
I guess
Yeah.
so. So you say you dominated all verticals. So what was the couple of main platforms that you
Oh,
invested
yeah.
more
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
in?
Good
Was it
question.
like Instagram and Twitter?
Yeah, so each platform has a different value that it provides. Like you're the same. I'm the same Amir that I'm on LinkedIn, that I'm on Twitter, that I'm on TikTok, but I express different forms of my personality on different ones. Like, LinkedIn Amir is a lot different than TikTok Amir, right? But so this is something that a lot of people don't normally know about outside of the industry, is that each one of these platforms has an API, and what the API is basically, here's a code of rules that you can use to have the access to our data. Some of these platforms charge for the data. Twitter, I mean, I'm getting somebody rims this Christmas from the amount that they're charging us for the Twitter data that we get access to. But so we use the APIs that are open and public. We do no scraping. We get the Dikembe Mutombo finger to that. And scraping is basically unauthorized access that you're grabbing data from some kind of web code from people's websites. That's not the authentic way, because the data, kind of gets changed that way. But basically,
Mm.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok is why I brought up the API thing, because they don't have an API yet for analytics. They're working on it. I might get a restraining order the amount of times I hit them up for it, but they're working on it. And that's, one of the biggest platforms right now is certainly that. But on average, we've done a lot of studies. Instagram actually provides the highest amount of reach, but the most amount of content is usually on Twitter. And then it changes for every demographic, right? Baba and Mama, they're probably on Facebook now, right? They might be getting on Instagram, they might be swiping here and there, but it'll be a while before they get on TikTok. So depending on what platform you're trying to reach your audience,
Mm.
you want to hone your message and execute on each one of those differently. For us, we looked at what platforms provided the most value to our customers, and then we looked at what are the APIs and rules that we're allowed to use, and then how can we put our special sauce on top of that to create some value.
What about like, do you guys have plans for like any newer type of technology or newer products? Like, is there like something that's coming up that you're able to kind of share, like, or anything in
Yeah,
the works?
yeah. I mean, not something that we're. So we've got a lot of things that are in motion, and we haven't publicly kind of announced this, but we're. I'll by the end of this year, if you're following the Zoomph account, I'll share more on this. But I'll
Great.
talk in a high level without kind of like go. But social media is absolutely critical to the future. But there are some antiquated technologies, right? Linear broadcast data. Majority of the deals are still done on broadcast for sports and entertainment. So that's important knowledge. But then you have your YouTube, your Disney Plus, your Hulu, the streaming data platforms that are out there too. Those are smaller, they're fragmented. A lot of people hear a lot, but and so there's a lot of things going on that side that we're getting excited in. Two, audio has really transformed. You're looking at Twitter Spaces. You're looking at podcasts. The audio game is growing. I know you've got a great podcast as well. Being able to translate and dictate that verbiage that's happening, because sometimes, say we're sponsored by Chipotle, right? Um, we might not have a Chipotle logo anywhere. We might not have a burrito in our hands or something that is a visual cue. We might not mention it. We might not use the hashtag. But the fact that we're talking about Chipotle, or maybe it should be Shamsi based on this conversation, but like, because we're not talking to them, right? Like, but that segment, there's value to that. So we want to be able to capture that and transcribe it and provide it. So there's a lot of things we got in the lab right now. But by the end of this year, we have some big announcements that are coming soon. So not a flamethrower, but very, very much dropping soon.
I'm looking forward to that. So, speaking of things that are coming up in the future, obviously Facebook, made some major changes. This whole Meta, Zuckerberg like freaked out a few people with what the metaverse will be all about in the future. I want to get your take as somebody who is a few years ahead of regular people that are walking around. What's your thought about the metaverse? Talk to me about NFT. Where do you see it going? Is it like how people were talking about the internet in the 90s, where they're like, that's that weird thing, but it is part of the future. It is coming and it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, that was the nicest way anyone's called me a nerd before, so thank you. But so I mean,
Hey,
honestly,
nerds rule the world, man. So
hey man, I know,
I
I know. It's had I known that school, I would have been doing things different. What's up, D Coop? I see you in the house. Amir, what's going on? So like, yeah, so 100%. Meta, the metaverse is coming, right? And it's a great move by Facebook and Mark to go in that way. One could say it was a really good name for a name change, given all the issues and stuff that they were going on to. That's always out there. The alphabet PR move, a la Google. But anyway,
by the way, before you share your opinion, for those who don't know what really metaverse is, in the most layman of terms, explain this is the metaverse, and then share your thoughts if you don't mind.
Yeah, metaverse is just a digital congregation. It's just us signing in to an experience that's digital, and then experiencing each other digitally. So if you're on Xbox or you're playing video games, right? That's a form of the metaverse in some form or another. You play Fortnite, that's a form of a metaverse in some form or another. There's going to be multiple metaverses, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to be on a rush to kind of create what is this digital real estate that we can create. Sims, some of those games back in the day where you create these digital worlds. Those are going to be big things that, where people are going to be buying real estate, buying advertisement, buying those experiences. Travis Scott, who he had some issues in the in-person, non-metaverse kind of world, but when he went and did his concert on Fortnite,
that first digital concert, which I saw that live, that was incredible.
huge, bigger than the Super Bowl. More people attended that. If you look at esports right now, what's going on there, it's absolutely massive. And to some people, it's super like they're like, what is this? This is so different. It really isn't. It's the same thing, just done in a different format. On Facebook, you're digitally interacting with one another in different ways. So it's not going to be, and it's not going to be all that crazy to what you've experienced today. It just sounds, the term and the phrase, and change always freaks everyone out. But basically, people are creating these digital experiences for us to interact with. We're all working from home. Not all of us, but a lot of us have now moved from work from home. And I hear some babies making dinosaur noises in the background. Apologies in advance. But
no problem.
We're this world where we can all connect globally and in person instantly, that's all coming. I mean, it's only a matter of time. Now right now, the way we're interacting with each other is smartphones, right? That was a big deal when it came out. Everyone laughed at Apple and thought it was going to be a failure, but it's coming. Everyone laughed at Elon Musk with electric vehicles and commercial flights to space. They laughed at it. It's coming, right? And same thing with metaverse. This is all stuff that is coming and is as old as AOL and AIM, of us interacting with each other digitally. But it's exciting. And with that, there's going to be a lot of people that want to build that next world. And there's a lot of big players that are going to invest into that. And Facebook is putting their flag into the ground and saying, to the developers that want to build the next world, come here. We will pay you a lot of money and we will do this. So I think it was more of a recruiting play by him to just bring people that are focused around that there. But Microsoft's on it. Everybody's on it. The guys at Apple is going to be on it. But the next device that comes out is going to be augmented reality glasses. And that's, the next step from going physical and digital. But that is what I'm really excited about in that world. But metaverse is not too far away from that.
Did you know the word metaverse before, like Facebook? Was that like common knowledge? And then like kind of he brought it to
was
the
buzzing.
forefront?
I mean, yeah, it's been coming up and it got, I think Facebook moved very quickly on it to kind of grab that in Meta.
First movers advantage.
First move, yeah. But ever since, I think the main thing was that concert by Fortnite, and they were doing some really interesting things that, with having live events within the games, right? Like they started experimenting with that at an early point too. But that's all coming. And then, next question is probably NFTs and that you might have. And NFTs are basically, digital transactional items. But all of you have bought some, not maybe all of you, but if you played, Farmville or anything like that, or any video, Call of Duty, and you buy a skin or you buy some points in the game, hey, Neely, what's up? And so when you get all these things, right, and you buy them digitally, they don't exist in the physical. We've already done that. So NFTs are really a no-brainer. It's going to happen. People want that blue check on Instagram, right? That's a digital way of expressing yourself. And people are going to want digital ways to express themselves and their personalities. Even the filters that we use on Instagram. So all of this, us going more digital, is just
inevitable.
It's inevitable, right? We've been moving past towards that direction where the digital world is real to us as the physical world.
And then how is metaverse and this digital world? Where does Zoomph play a role into that? Is there like a whole different layer that you guys are going to capitalize and do the same thing where you essentially track the data of usership in that digital world? I mean, it's all digital world over here too, but the third wave, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so right now, we're primarily evaluating the digital content on social media, Web 2.0, if you will, right? Web 3.0 is going to be focused on ownership and tokens and being able to attribute, like, this is Iman's content, this is Amir's content, this is, and being able to attribute that. We'd still have to do that valuation of what that sort of exposure is worth or what that digital asset is worth. So for us, it's, that Fortnite concert with Travis Scott, I want to know the value that he contributed. Was there, what were the value of the logos? How many people saw it? How many people were experiencing it? What were the sales afterwards of Travis Scott? All that information is super impactful. The interesting thing about digital and the blockchain and NFTs these are all sort of public ledgers as well. So it shares more insights and information about each other of what our preferences are, past transactions that we've made, understanding who these people are more. But at the end of the day, it's still attention, just expressed in a different way. And we just need a way to quantify how long that exposure is, what was the quality of that exposure, and how many people were exposed to it. And that's the way, in layman terms, of how we do the magic that we do to say, this is why this is worth X and this is worth Y. It'll just be a different form, much like us going into podcasts and transacting on what is the value for a podcast sponsorship. All of that is just a different form of media or digital content that we factor on quality of exposure, length of exposure, people that were exposed to it, the reach, and all that. So we will certainly be there as well. Or you got to play harder than that to get rid of us.
So the sector that you're in is the umbrella. Is it digital marketing essentially? Is that what it is at a top level, high level?
It's hard to put us like exactly in a bucket because it could be digital marketing, it could be partnerships. Because what we're doing is when the partnership's made, we're helping every party understand what the value of that partnership was. But right now, where we are today is expressively on digital and social media. But as we expand to other sources, which may or may not happen very soon, we will be pulling in multiple mediums, right? And so it won't be just digital marketing, but at the end of the day, it's partnerships. And through digital marketing, we're able to provide those insights and analytics to help guide how to continue engagements, how to think about in the future other activations and ways that we can engage audiences. But at the end of the day, we want to provide a value to the fans. And if fans are enjoying themselves, they're going to spend money. And that's, at the end of the day, if we do right by them, brands will win, fans will win, the right holders, sports and esports teams, leagues, agencies, they'll all win as well.
So for individuals who are watching who want to get into this space of this technology that you're a part of, what kind of advice can you give them to kind of start following your path? Because I'm sure there's a world of opportunity. You guys are doing great things. Maybe they want to join your company. What advice do you have for people who want to get into your space?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that question. I mean, there's so many different ways because there's so many different types of rules organizations like ours and others might need. There's the developer path, the people that are actually building this. And, you're a developer, you're not going to have any trouble finding any opportunity anywhere right now. I mean, they're in such high demand because everyone has ideas, but you need to have the ability to have a team that can execute on it. There's lots of ways of getting involved. Sports and technology and sports in this business is a very small business and is very competitive to get into. And there's a number of like schools and programs that you can go through. But at the end of the day, it's understanding what do you want to do as an organization, as yourself, as an individual, what makes you happiest. And if you're able to, and you have enough of a privilege to be able to do that. I'm a male in 2001. I've got tons of freaking privilege, right, to be able to execute in this way. I wouldn't be able to do what I do today without my wife being able to, in the partnership that we have with our kids and everything. But if the direction of like where you're going is like, one is there's a number of publications that are out there. I'm happy to send them to anyone. My email is amir@zoomph.com, right? So if you have interest, I'm happy to send a link, or I can share it on Instagram stories or something like that where people can
make sure you give it to me later. I want to include it in the YouTube link. When this converts to YouTube, they can always get access to the information.
Exactly. Better
that's
go on
very
YouTube.
Nice of you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we'll put it on YouTube in the description. So that's the destination where everyone can get it from. And then basically there's a number of sources where there's news and information out there. There's a number of school programs to get into. But #SportsBiz is a really good one to get connected with and find other people around it. And then, the one thing I'd say is show people that you're passionate. If you want time from people, you want to interview, you want to talk to people, show them that you care, show them that you're not going to be an asshole, which I've termed is like people that ask a lot of questions but don't do anything with the feedback that you have done. But if you care enough about something, you'll make it happen, right? If you're passionate enough about it. And it's good to know what you don't want as much as what you do want. I don't know if that was enough of an answer, and call me out in the comments if that wasn't good enough. But
no, it was great.
Yeah.
Somebody did, I think one of your friends or colleagues did recommend learn to code. I mean, it's clear that there's still a high demand for developers to make all these ideas come to fruition.
Yeah, and I can't code for shit, right? And James just joined, and he knows that better than anyone, and who's on our team. So go follow him. But basically, like, know what you're good at and know what you're not good at, and be focused on, back to that quote earlier, and this was from my friend Armin, who was earlier on the call. It was a fox that chases many rabbits catches none. Having that self-awareness of what you can deliver and what you can't, and then hire or partner with people that you suck at. Nothing makes me happier than firing myself from something I suck at. We did this whole thing where we flew everyone in. We went all remote, like you called out, yeah, which is big change for us, but we're really excited about it. But I suck at planning. I am the worst. I'm like, how many minutes late to this, right? I'm terrible at it. And I'm a forest guy, not a tree guy, right? That's just the way, and that's the way I choose to execute and focus on. If I really wanted to, I could be anything, just like anyone listening here. But knowing what I suck at, I find the right people that are amazing at that, and I try to do everything I can in the world to keep them there. And the way that our organization works is, there's Nick, our other co-founder, there's Ali, our other co-founder, and we all have certain skill sets that we are awesome at, and there's certain things that we suck at, and we just double down on what we're awesome at, and we find the right people for the things that we suck at. I know it's as easy as layman as that sounds.
No, it's very important. It requires humility, where you accept that, hey, I'm just not that great in this areas, and then it requires you to detect great talent around, bring them in, and keep them happy. I mean, what you're telling me is that you are the ideal CEO, where you truly are looking out for the growth of the business, realizing that you can't do it alone. And so you're bringing on the right people around you, and it seems like your colleagues are showing you a lot of love here too. So it shows what a great leader you are and what a great team you have around you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And what I realize is I work for them, right? And when you work for them, you deliver their goals. And Ali always, he's a mentor of mine, a big brother of mine. And he always says, when they start mocking you about these things, that's when the message has gotten through. And my thing is like, and they make fun of me, is like, I'm here to move your mountains. There's something in your way, I will find a way to get rid of it. But my product isn't anymore Zoomph these days, right? My product is the Zoomph team that builds Zoomph. So I look at the Zoomph team like parts and pieces, and what do I need to bring in, or how do I make this environment to encourage more people to join us? How do I make ourselves more diverse, right? One thing I've been really excited about is our partnership with Women in Sports Tech, right?
Oh, yes.
And I'm on the board there. And we've historically sucked at being able to recruit women. And we were like, well, it's sports, it's tech. There's not a lot of women in each. So, of course, it's hard for us to get in. But that was an excuse that we rested on and was okay with. And once we started doubling down on what we could do to change that, and what can we make ourselves more appealing to recruit women, and my God, the more women that we've been able to bring on this team in the last couple of years, we've never been more successful. And it's a diversity in thought, right? And it's diversity not just in gender, not just in ethnicity, but in thought. There's people that are historically negative thinkers, right? There's people on our team that no matter what idea I come up with, they're like, Amir, that sucks. Here's why. Bam, 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 bam. And early Amir, young Amir would be like, oh, I don't want negative people on our team. This is it's a wet blanket. But then I realized, no, this is amazing. They're saving me before I go out there to think about these negative things. And I'd rather find those negative things now and solve it. And there's some things that, are just negative thoughts and like, that might not happen, or if it, where's your data behind thinking that might happen or not? But everyone has value to bring, and so you just, as much diverse as the input is, the better the output is, and that's something that as a team leader has been our secret power. It's like we have so much diversity in thought and diversity in people, and we need to do better, right? I don't have any female executives on the team. I'm changing that. I'm working on that, right? And it's being aware of these gaps and issues, and how can I work to change that, and how can I put myself in a better position to impact that. And but I'm constantly learning, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I have a great team that trusts me, and as long as I can deliver them the challenges that make them thrive, the environment that makes them thrive, they will continue to stay here, and we will build together. But honestly, it's really the amazing team that we have that has the success of where we are today, and I'm just lucky to be a part of it with them. But it's definitely not a one-man show. It's like, and everyone rolls their eyes, but it's like the Avengers, right? Everyone is awesome at one thing. We're still small. We're 30 people, but we found a way to double down on strengths and hire for weaknesses. At some point, that's all going to change as we kind of grow and become bigger, and I'll have to learn and adapt, and I'll probably have to ask questions from you and guidance from people like you. But, successful entrepreneurs that are out there that have built these great businesses. But one step at a time, we're just wake up every day, try to be the best of what we can do.
Can you just, first of all, that's amazing, man. I love the way that you're running your ship, man. And what is say hi to your kids, by the way. What is the woman in tech? Can you kind of give a little nutshell of exactly what that is? Because I think it's awesome that you're integrating this aspect.
Yeah, so Women in Sports Tech is an organization that's focused on changing the ratio in sports. So they're focused on, and we're actually involved in 3 different programs, and apologies for the noise in the background, but we're involved with WIST, and that's more focused on the front office, right, and people in employment. We're involved with Sports Innovation Labs Women's Leadership Board, and that's focused on the field, on the ice, on the court, right, like changing women's sports, which is the best opportunity in sports today. It's undervalued, right? For a brand, it's a no-brainer to get involved, and their power's never been stronger in that. And then we're also involved in esports with Radiant, which is a female-focused gaming. Because for esports, it's terrible, man. They'll put a pink headset and they'll say, "This is what we're doing for women," right? Like, and that's not female gaming in any sort of capacity. But anyway, so working with WIS has been transformative. Jess, who's on here, that's how I met her. And it's a great group of people, but they have a fellowship where we can take on, 1 year we took on 2, but we took 1 intern from them every year. They pay for everything, and they want to make sure these women have great opportunities in sports tech. Nike's involved. Michael Jordan got on the Zoom with one of them. I wasn't on there. I'm incredibly jealous. But NBA, WNBA, there's a lot of great organizations that are involved with this. And so it's amazing to be on the other side of the table with some of our customers, helping change and make an impact. But it's purely selfish. I'm not here to be like a good Samaritan and good sentiment and all that. I want the smartest freaking women in the world working for Zoomph. And I want the smartest men working for Zoomph. And I want the smartest people here in our industry so our industry thrives. So this is very much a selfish agenda and narrative, right? But the more smarter people that we have in the space, the way everyone's going to benefit as a result of it. And so the good thing about WIS is they're getting involved. They have this next gen program that is making an impact on the high school level before women get to college and have made their decision of where they want to be. Because at that point, that's where they're impacted the most. But if they can see successful women that are out there and crushing it, that takes, and I think this Friday they actually have, if you go check them out, Women in Sports Tech on social, and we can put that in the YouTube notes as well. They're going to have a webinar, and they'll have Aura Ring, which is that wearable tech company. And then tomorrow I'm actually going to be on a webinar with them for this other event, and I can send information on that as well.
Please do. I mean, you definitely are creating a little conduit for people to want to be attracted to work with your company. So I have no doubt you're going to continue to attract the brightest of both male and female. How can they find all the stuff that you're doing? Tell all the websites for Zoomph and the Women in Sports and Tech, like if they want to come and support you, if they want to follow you, if they want to come learn from you. Any Instagram, any website pages, feel free to share it.
Yeah, no, really, really appreciate it. It's Zoomph, Zoomph on everything, social, website. Just Google it or Bing it if you're old school. I don't know, but and then for me, I'm Zonozi on everything, Zonozi. So,
Right.
but it's really appreciate you facilitating this conversation. I don't know how you still have a voice right now. I need to hear your hydration schedule and regimen. But no, this has been amazing, man. Thank you for creating this and thinking of small people like me to bring on to this great, amazing audience that you have. But it's exciting and honestly,
I'm glad Pedro connected us too. So
yeah, Pedro's the man, and he's changing the world one day at a time, and I'm so glad we connected on this, and I've seen your work. You can't miss your work in our area. You've always I saw people through weddings that like with Kevin and all that. Like it's amazing to create a business where you have fans like this that are engaging constantly. So shout out to you and what you've built here and the value that you're generating and delivering to the audience here.
Thank you, man. Well, thank you for giving me something to talk about. You guys are doing great things, and I wish you guys all the success moving forward. And I can't wait to put it up on YouTube and have all this information within the description for everybody else to continue to support what you're doing, man. So kudos to you. I really appreciate you as an Iranian. To another Iranian, I'm extremely proud of what you've done as children of immigrants, doing some amazing things in this land of opportunity. So keep on crushing it, keep on doing great things, and keep on uniting people in the tech and the sports world and changing the world, man. Props to you.
That means the world. Hopefully your listeners are liking and subscribing to your channel. And
yes.
And your new nickname, man, is the Big Tagging. You were making it
the
so
Big
crunchy.
Tagging.
I love it, dude. Thank you. Man, this has been great.
Man.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
You, man.
And this
Enjoy.
has been phenomenal.
And kiss your kids on my behalf and say hello to your wife. Be well. I love the fact that you're a family man that shows a lot of love to your family. I love following you on social media. So keep on doing your thing, man. Be well and take care.
Thank you so much, brother. Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Khodafez. Bye.
Khodafez.
All right. So big thank you to Amir from Zoomph. We appreciate it. And thank you for joining for day 7 of 31 Instagram Lives with the most awesome Persian entrepreneurs, creators, artists that I know. And there's also a lot more out there. So if you know somebody that's awesome, that's Persian, that's doing great things, especially for the holidays, some charitable efforts, perhaps some major collaborative work, I'm down to be introduced to all these awesome people. Even if I can't fit them into the month of December, this is what I do. I have the Awesome People podcast. You can click the link in my bio to see our 24 episodes on the podcast. In 2022, I'm going even harder and deeper on doing a lot more conversations and podcasts with the most awesome Persians. I feel like we're a community that needs to be continuously united, and it's only through conversations that we can be united. And it's my pleasure to tell great stories like Amir Zonozi. Enjoy the rest of your day, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe, be happy, and don't forget to count your blessings every moment that you can. Take care, guys. And tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, it's my friend Navid Rezvani, who is the winner of Persia's Got Talent in 2021. Incredible professional dancer, a passionate soul, major patriot. Come check us out tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, right over here. God bless.